You dive. Wind rushes past your face as the sea of black sand spreads out before you. The translucent bubbles of colony dome cities dot the landscape. You're rejoining the earth your people left behind. You just wish this time wasn't so dire. Your island is sinking. Can you save it?
What's going on, YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH,
How's it going, everybody?
and we are back to commentate another match of Dust to Dust. So, we have our same table of players here. Jake at the top, Gorby on the left, I guess your right. Justin at the bottom, and Ryan on the other side of the table, I guess, lack of a better term. Just pay attention to where the
left.
names are.
Yeah.
Yeah, left. They're left. So yeah, and we're playing with, I believe it's a modified like defensive set in the rule book. I'm gonna go find the rule book now to talk about the sets that we are playing with.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know the name. You said the last one that we commentated that they might have seen was the Crystalize set. I'm not familiar with the names.
No, so this is the Crystalize set.
Oh, okay.
The modified set that we played with in the last set was the Provide set. So I had all my names wrong. So this is the actual Crystallized set as outlined by the rulebook. Greenkeep Merchant, Barrelhorn Rhino, Fuse Forge Blacksmith, Iron Spark Fireflies, War Rhino General, Fuse Gatekeeper, Vineclaw Wolf, Fuse Port Sentry, Poison Hand Chancellor, and Oak Tusk Oliphant.
Now, if you're watching this in August, then you don't have the cards yet in front of you. Those are a lot of words you don't understand, but it's okay because Carl's going to explain what every card does as we start playing them.
Yep. And if you haven't already watched the set reviews for Biofauna, Colony, and Machina, go check those out because that will explain those cards in depth.
Are the links going to be in the description?
Yeah, so this I like this game a lot, and you guys can tell by the runtime of this video, it's about to be a long one, so strap in. But yeah, this is kind of how at least the games, and again, I think Christian, you can probably speak to this a little bit more than I can, just because I think you've got a little bit more experience with the game in general. But this feels about what the runtime of these games is supposed to feel like. On the box, it talks about games being anywhere from half an hour to 60 minutes. From my experience, just with the handful of games I've been able to play, which is, at this point, maybe a dozen or so, most of those games usually end up at that like 45-minute to an hour mark.
Just got really bright here. Yeah, I would say mine have generally been pretty long, but I think a lot of that is also because I've been playing on Tabletop Simulator, and it takes a while to actually navigate what you're trying to do.
A lot of pointing, clicking, forgetting how to shuffle, flipping things around. And it looks like Jake is going first because he won the last game. He played with the Provide set. So
nice.
Take a look at his head real quick, and then we'll get into it. So
he is debating
what you guys can't hear, and I've got, I think, notes on this game as well for timestamp wise, just where we're at with the video. But it looks like there's a handful of things. Yeah, so at the 5-minute mark, there's something that I think someone wanted to dust. And I don't know, maybe if you can scroll over this video, Christian, we can see what the timestamp is on this.
Right now we're at 3:44.
Okay, so at some point, someone forgets to dust something and then chooses to dust something.
Okay.
So like Jake there with a 4-buy dusted the fusion fragment.
Yeah, I think Gorby didn't dust anything. He's he 3-bought the blacksmith, so he's keeping his fusion fragments for now. Yep. Going for the strat that he ignored last time because everyone else was going for it. Now he's popping off with it, hopefully.
Yeah, and Jake's first buy being the War Rhino General there. I'm trying to set up with some early defense and hopefully getting some residual effects from it. So the blacksmith being that card that, if you hold on to your fusion fragments, you can discard the fusion fragment and gain 2 energy. So there goes Ryan with the early dust, and then he's got a 3-buy, and I'm not sure what he's picking up here. Firefly, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks
So
like both Gorby and Justin went for the blacksmith, so Brian doesn't want to go for
and
that.
Right, and Firefly is also one of those cards that can kind of utilize the fusion fragments. I think Ryan started off with 2 in his hand, but Iron Spark Firefly says recall 1 card from your discard pile, and then you may discard a fusion fragment from your hand. If you do, draw a card. So it can kind of lean on the fusion fragments when you get stuck with one or a fusion fragment in hand that you can't do anything with. Fireflies just kind of helps you cycle it. And then
Jake going for blacksmith too. So 3 blacksmiths have been bought so far. And honestly, I think it's totally reasonable to go for a blacksmith even if 2 people already bought it.
So, the relic flip is it looks like Noble Cloak and Metal Tree. Noble Cloak saying increasing your starting hand size to 4 cards. So your minimum hand size can't be less than 4. And Metal Tree says gain 1 energy for each relic you have. So Metal Tree providing a constant energy on the board, and then if you have a second relic, it always provides 2.
Heck yeah! Ooh, we got action.
Justin with the 5-buy on his wolf, and all the hands are getting shuffled now because all the players have made it through their first 2 hands in the second turn. So Ryan here with a 5-buy as well, and I believe he's also going for a wolf.
All right, what does the wolf do again?
Wolf is in an attacking biofauna. It says unblockable. Choose an opponent to discard 1 active shield and gain an energy if your opponent discards a shield.
Okay, that's a really interesting early pickup here because no one has actually bought a shield except for maybe Jake?
Except for Jake, who bought the War Rhino General. It looks like he's buying here. So.
Yeah, that's really interesting. With only 1 shield in play, I might have gone for the Chancellor instead as a 5-buy, but hey, here we go. And now there's so many wolves, I'd be less inclined to buy shields, and Jake's like, I don't care, I'm buying another shield. But he's the only one that can be targeted by these wolves, so I don't know, I feel like a couple turns from now we're going to see Jake play a shield and it's going to get wolved.
Yeah, so Gorby there with the dust. Dust and energy grabs another blacksmith, and we're down to 1 black. Yep.
Yeah, Gorby has the most blacksmiths currently.
Correct. So we just get to see Jake's hand, which is neat. So Ryan there plays his wolf, or Justin, excuse me, plays his wolf, gets 2 energy from it, and then plays 4 energy as well.
Is he buying an energy?
Buys an energy?
Yeah, you can, right? For 1. I think he just did buy an energy.
So this is that mark I think I was talking about, where it was probably about the 5-minute mark. I think Justin decides and goes back on that play here in a moment and just decides to dust an energy instead and buy the.
Yeah, so that means he would put the energy back and then dust it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But take backsies in a friendly game. It can totally happen.
Sure. Yeah, Ryan there with the 5-buy use port Sentry.
Yeah, that's the draw to make your next ally efficient. Am I getting them?
Correct, yes.
Nice.
Yes, you are.
I'm learning.
Yes, you are. Yeah, so it's fun, when we record in non-HD, and then Christian has to just rely on whole memory, faithful.
Just got some pixels here I'm working with.
So Jake there playing the efficient fuse gatekeeper. There it is. A lot of fuse words in this. Plays into his fuse forge blacksmith. And gets the energy off of it, and then 5 buys the Chancellor. So now we're seeing some Chancellor action. I'm surprised it took this long because I feel like
me too.
One of the powerful cards on the board right now.
Yeah, Jake buying a wolf wouldn't have made much sense because no one else has a shield. So I do like that he bought the Chancellor there.
Yeah, it's late. But he also hasn't even played one of the shields yet. So I don't know if he's drawn or what. But Gorby there plays into Fuse Port. Oh my god. Fuse Gate, Fuse Port Sentry, Fuse Gatekeeper, and Fuse Forge Blacksmith. Good.
How many energy is the gate? Is the gate the first thing?
Fuse Port Sentry does not provide any energy. It just says draw 2 and add efficient to the next card.
Okay, so he's filtering through and he's finding more energy just by drawing them. That makes sense.
Yeah. trying to draw those fusion fragments to get the energy. And I
It's
think
buying,
Gorby
last
hit on
blacksmith.
hit on 7 there. Buys the last blacksmith and a fused gatekeeper.
Yeah, so I really like this. Gorby's deck is like 3 blacksmith. He still has his 2 fragments, and the rest of his deck is all either energy or cards that draw. So I mean, he's almost definitely gonna hit blacksmith plus a fusion shard, fusion fragment next turn.
Well, I think that was what his goal was this turn, was to try to hit 8, and then he was 1 off just from the draw from.
Still a really powerful turn. I mean, he bought the efficient draw card and the last blacksmith.
Because I think he was banking on, I don't know what other allies he's drafted at this point, but I think he was banking on something to make it efficient to get that extra energy out of, but it just didn't quite work out. Ryan here, though, with Iron Spark Fireflies into Fuseport. Yeah, because he can recall something from his graveyard if he had or he can recall something from the graveyard, but he didn't have the fusion fragment to discard, so. Fuseport. So here's where Ryan's strategy starts to begin to come off the wheels, if you will. And I know we're only a few minutes into this, and it's strap in for the next however long. But yeah, so Ryan builds this incredibly efficient deck that's only like it ends up being like 8 cards, not to spoil anything, but he cycles through his whole deck and just doesn't have a deck to cycle through. He builds a deck that's just way too efficient and can't get there. So, but I think he's also he's also at the point now where he also hit on 7, and he's super bummed because he was 1 off from the first relic. So
yeah, the gate not giving, or the sentry rather not giving you. Is it the sentry, the big one? The sentry not giving you energy is kind of a bummer in this case. Yeah, he's buying more things that draw and make it efficient, but I mean, how much energy does he even have in his deck? That's the thing.
Well, Barrel Horn Rhino is just. Yeah, it's just that single shield. It's a 3-buy, and it just provides 2 residual energy, or you can just play it as your ally action for 2 energy. So everything being very efficient, like Jake there has his ally in a War Rhino General, and War Rhino General lets him choose an opponent to dust 1 card from their hand or retrieve a card from dust. So I think Jake's playing number games here, trying to figure out what's actually going to be the most efficient, if you will.
Yeah, right now, if you're not going for fragments, you don't really care too much about what's in the dust. There's not really any allies there, so he's just going to make Ryan discard a card, maybe? Looked like it for a second.
Well, he's thinking about it, because I think he thought that it did both things.
So. Oh, yeah. Oh, he does have to dust a card, so it's an energy, yeah. Ryan just gets rid of the most useless card in his hand. But again, as you mentioned, like if you build a super efficient deck, but then you don't have many energies or many cards that give you energy, you could run into some brick walls. Yeah.
So a little bit of a tough play here, and Jake here with a low buy, because War Rhino General only provides the 1 energy, so he's got a 4-buy here if he wants it, and I think he considers dusting one of the energies, but ultimately chooses not to, it would seem.
All right, let's see if Gorby got this blacksmith strat going. He's starting with the draw card. He's drawn 2 more. I definitely see a fragment in his hand. Efficient draw card. Love to see it. Ooh, there's definitely a blacksmith.
Yeah. The issue with that though is Fuseport Sentry to the next ally. Fuse Gatekeeper was already efficient. So.
Yeah. So now that he has blacksmith is efficient though, right? So he's good.
Blacksmith is efficient, yes.
All right. So Gorby doesn't have an ally action, but he can play any efficient allies he still has.
And I think this is where Poison Hand Chancellor leans into this set really, really well, is because you've got a lot of things to make Poison Hand Chancellor efficient while also providing the energy. So
I think Gorby there 6 or 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's going to dust an energy, and he has a 6-buy. I believe he's considered.
This is like the third 7 energy turn where one person was 1 energy off of a relic.
Yeah, so he dusts an energy and has a 6-buy for another fragment and a Green Keep Merchant. So Green Keep Merchant allows you to discard up to 3 cards and then drawing that many.
Yeah, so Gorby's really into just trying to get like a double blacksmith turn and finally buying a relic soon. Meanwhile, we got a wolf. We've got some energy and...
You're playing wolf strats, but nobody's playing shields because they
Yeah.
knew Justin was just drafting all the wolves. So plays wolf, 3 energy, and 5 buys fuse port sentry.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
So,
one card being worth 2 energy, even if you don't have any other effects, like it's pretty solid, right? Is actually Wolf worth 2 by itself?
yes, wolf
Nice.
is worth 2 buys. So Spencer and I had a long discussion about that the other day too, talking about possible card changes, um, and possibly making the wolf like Fuse Forge Blacksmith, where if it gets rid of the shield, it'll provide the 2 instead. Otherwise, it'll just give you the static 1.
Yeah, because like
So
right now with 3 wolves in the pool, like everyone's just really scared to play anything that has a shield on it.
yeah, but
I
people
say
are
that,
drafting
and
them.
then, yeah, then
Yeah,
Ryan immediately buys a
because
giant shield.
yeah, Oak Tuscaloosa font says retrieve a card from dust or recall a card from discard. So just a big residual. And again, it provides 2 energy, so gives you a ton of energy every turn and then has that neat residual effect.
we get a Jake play the shield, and then Gorby throws it back and puts it face down.
Yeah.
He's like, no, this is the correct way to do it. The only reason you need to put shields face down, it's not like a requirement, but the rules say when you play a shield, as a shield, put it face down until the end of your turn, just so you don't accidentally count it as like its energy or its effect for that turn.
Exactly. It's still taking your ally action, but you're not getting its effect until the following turn. So
Yeah, that rule was made just because it like reduced confusion.
yeah, and it holds up, but it's confusion in and of itself because it's like players want to think that they're going to be able to use their card immediately, and you can see the cat walking around under the table. I think
Oh,
this is the
nice.
I think this is the episode where the cat puts itself in jail here in a minute. So
Oh no.
there's that hamper next to Justin down there in the bottom left. So there might be a cat in there here towards the middle of this video. So stay tuned.
I do love the decoration. We got the cats. We got yeah, at least 1 cat, maybe 2 cats. Definitely some pizza.
It just
Definitely a
makes me
hamper.
wonder. And again, I appreciate Jake for just like leaning in, but like he could have just picked.
Well, he doesn't want to move them.
I appreciate it. I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Say yeah, dusting and energy, and then 3 buys the Firefly.
And then tries to scoop the cards up, and it just goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, every time. Every time. So let's see if we can keep up on a few turns for it now, because I think we're getting close to Gorby's first relic here. I think he's the first one to buy one. I could be wrong though. I can't remember if it's him or Justin to get there first.
He has the deck that does a single thing the best currently. So he just needs to have a turn where he does that thing well.
Well, he's building a deck because he knows what he's trying to accomplish. I think everybody else is just buying cards at the table, but that's the fun of a board game night, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, but like, when you think about it, like the fusion strats or like fuse fragment strats are like the only ones really coherent. Like the other cards don't really work so linearly together.
Right. They don't lean into each other's strategies. They don't just outright say, this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Gorby with a strong start, blacksmith into the fusion fragments. That's 3 energy on the board so far.
Dusting it. It looks like he doesn't have any draw in his hand, so he's just gonna have to work with 3, 4, 5 energy.
Yeah.
Could have bought a 6, but he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 5 buy, and I feel like if I was him, I'd want the Poison Hand Chancellor. I don't know that he's picked one up yet.
Yeah, I don't think you need a wolf really, because it's just slow kind of, and not really what you're going for. I'd go for Chancellor personally, but we'll see what he goes for.
Yeah, and that's Chancellor is usually when Chancellor's on the board. That's usually my.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the most powerful 5 buys in the game as it stands.
He just wants to draw fragments, blacksmiths, and draw cards next turn. And because he only has 1 card left in his deck, as soon as he buys this turn, he's gonna shuffle his discard pile, and he could draw the card he buys, which is an important consideration. You want to buy something that you wouldn't feel bad about drawing immediately because you could draw it.
Yeah, that's the goal. So looks like we're gonna sit on this thought for a minute.
Like I guess maybe the other option is another fuse port sentry, maybe, but like Chancellor still draws 2 cards, and the blacksmiths you want to draw already have efficient.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at a lot of these cards just by themselves.
Ooh, okay, I kind of like that. Yeah.
Jake picked up the cards for him. Yeah, Green Keep and a Firefly.
So Firefly is efficient, and it does let you recall a card from dust.
It does let you recall a card from your discard pile.
Oh, okay. Okay, that right now is not useful.
And it provides an energy. So,
All right.
and it's efficient. So it's like blacksmith, but its fusion strategy is with the fragment. If you discard the fragment, you draw a card. So
Yeah, I
there's my
can see
big.
where that would be a tough call between those two, and or that and Chancellor. Can't talk. So much
All right,
pointing going on.
got some pizza being eaten this round.
Oh, Ryan's one of those folders and eat it. Yeah, I don't know about that. The fold strat, not really for me. Like you eat it more efficiently, sure, but you also eat it for a smaller amount of time. You don't get to savor it.
I just appreciate the fact that that one slice sat on the video for the entire half an hour until this video. When
Yeah, you
the
know
first
that's cold, man. It's a cold piece of pizza.
So Justin there using Oak Tusk, just playing the card outright to recall the card or to get the card from dust, provides 2 energy. So he Oak Tusk grabs a fusion fragment so that he can use his Fuse Forge Blacksmith to discard the fragment, get 3 energy from it, and he had 3 energy in hand. So Justin with the first 8 buy here. And he grabs Noble Cloak, which provides 1 residual energy and increases his minimum hand size to 4. So if there were any cards because I think Chancellor and Wolf are the only 2 attack cards on the board, other than War Rhino General, which would have your opponent dust a card from their hand. But yeah, other than Poison Hand Chancellor and War Rhino, those are the only 2 cards that are actually making any player discard anything for any reason. And it's only 1 card at a time. So Noble Cloak not super powerful relic wise.
Yeah, and the relics do make you dust a card from your hand, but the way it works is you do that after you draw to your minimum hand size, so it doesn't really hedge against itself, if that's what Justin was thinking there. Right. Like if he eventually gets 2 relics, he wouldn't be able to like draw after dusting.
Yeah, and the relic that just gets flipped up now is Scry Sword. So it lets you look at the top card of your deck. You may dust or discard it, and that's a May effect, and then draw a card.
It's almost Scry from Magic, but it's not. It's close.
Probably one of the most powerful relics, just in terms of there's really no negative effect on it. I mean, you're dusting a card from your hand every turn, but you're immediately getting that card back with its effect.
Yeah, it's way it's way better than if it was actually Scry for Magic and you had to like put it on top of their bottom of your deck, because like sometimes you see a card and you're like, I don't want this in my deck at all, and if it's just an energy later in the game, you just dust it and good to go.
Scry Sword can literally fuel almost any strategy you're trying to put together in this game by dusting, discarding, whatever you're trying to play with that turn. Put the card in whatever pile you need it to be, and if you need the card itself, cool, just draw. So I think Ryan here is close to an 8 buy as well. Looks like has Barrel Horn, which was the shield he charged last turn. Or no, he played Fuse Gatekeeper, efficiently charged his Barrel Horn Rhino. Or maybe not. What's happening?
It's hard to tell because if you play the Barrel Horn Rhino, technically, again, you're supposed to play it face down for the turn, so that would help us keep track as commentators. There's a lot of cards being played, Carl, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm paying more attention to the cat.
Fair enough. So I think are we at minute 38 here? Where are we at?
We are at minute 23. Nice try.
23. So I know that there's an 8 buy situation here where we just kind of talk our way through how we were supposed to play this handout, because Ryan had a Fuse Port Sentry. And I think the idea was to play Fuse Gatekeeper as efficient, make his next card efficient, which would have been the Barrel Horn, then play Fireflies, and then play Fuse Port Sentry to get back Oliphant, or to get back whatever, and then play Oliphant. So I think that's the play. I think that's what we're trying to get to make all of this stuff efficient. But all I know is that it works out in the end, and I believe Ryan has his 8 buy here. So,
yeah. Ordering can be very important, especially with cards like Sentry, so you don't burn efficient on anything.
So he has a 9 buy here. Yeah, okay. And that is the play. So he played Fuse Gatekeeper into the efficient Barrel Horn, played Fireflies, and then played Oak Tusk as his as his ally action for the turn, and then he had 4 energy in his hand. So Barrel Horn providing 2 energy, Oak Tusk providing 2 energy. Fireflies gives him an energy, but not that big a deal. So he has a 9 buy here.
Looks like he's going for that Scry Sword.
Yes. Yes. Scry Sword, good card.
What's being flipped in its place?
It looks like I believe that's the satellite.
Oh, the one that blocks the first attack.
Yep. Satellite says block the first attack that would harm you each round. And so this is where we got into it. I say we got into it like Spencer and I were arguing about it, but that's not really it. I brought it up to his attention because Vineclaw Wolf says that it's unblockable. And Satellite says block the first attack. And the thought process there is that, Relic should have some form of just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Priority.
Right. Over like ally actions, like the Relic should be able to protect against those, even cards that say unblockable. So I know that that's a potential wording thing that's hopefully going to have some sort of. I don't know that it's going to stay the same.
I mean, as I would read it right now, I would assume that Wolf goes off. Like Satellite blocks everything that doesn't say unblockable, and Wolf says unblockable, so SOL happens.
So that was part of the discussion with Spencer and I a little over a week ago after this match occurred, where talking about how can you word things to where Vineclaw Wolf can still target and be unblockable with the shields, like the stackable shields that exist in this game, versus not being able to get through something like Satellite. Like, how can you word
Wolf
Satellite?
say right now?
Wolf says currently unblockable, and then there's a colon. Choose an opponent to discard 1 active shield.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know why it needs the unblockable text, honestly. Maybe I'm a crazy person, because the opponent would choose what shield they discard anyway, right?
Right. No, because you would choose an opponent to discard. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what unblockable really does. It's just kind of, yeah.
Fair enough. Good call. I always thought that Vine would specifically target the shield.
No, I know what you're going for. Like, if you have a stackable shield and one's great and one's like a green keep merchant or something, then yeah, you want to, whatever the small shields are, yeah.
Right, and that might have been the discussion, was just, do you make Vineclaw Wolf more powerful in the sense that it can specifically target the shield that it wants to get rid of if there are stackable shields? Like, if you stack like a Petal Wing on top of an Oak Tusk, obviously you want to keep the Oak Tusk around because it's better. Petal Wing's just a derpy little, 1 energy blocker shield. So,
there's probably a reason I'm forgetting why it says unblockable, but I'm pretty sure it didn't say unblockable when I played with the card last on tabletop.
Yeah, I know that card's been through a few iterations. But Jake there also with an 8 buy. So everybody has bought a Relic ever since Justin bought his. We'll see if Gorby can follow suit. I can't remember, but I think he does. I think this is a cool turn. So Green Keep Merchant there, discarding 3 energy to draw 3. So dumping the energy that are in his hand, trying to, I think, generate some sort of fusion fragment strat here. He's got quite a few. So Fireflies recalls an energy, discards a fragment to draw a card. Yeah, Fuse
Drawing
Gate.
more cards.
Yeah, drawing another card, add Efficient to the next ally he plays. Oh, which is Fuse Forward Sentry, which
That's
also
really
adds to the next ally. Yep, so everything's been efficient so far. And he's also got 2 residual energy on the board right now with Firefly and a Green Keep. So let's see what happens here. Plays another Green Keep. Discarding 2 energy to draw 2. Looks like Gorby's going to cycle through his whole deck. All right. Fuse Swords Blacksmith. Yep. Gets rid of a fusion fragment. And then plays 2 more blacksmiths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. That's an 8 buy. Gorby got there.
It took a lot of cards to get there, but he got there.
So it looks like he has the choice of either Mock Wings or the Metal Tree, and he takes Metal Tree.
Which one is Metal Tree again?
relic. Metal Tree provides 1 energy for each relic you have.
Okay, yeah. So right now it's just gonna give him 1 energy. And if he is able to get a second relic, then nice.
Right. So Justin here having to dust a card because that's what the Noble Cloak says.
Now I could
Now
see
he will-
Gorby being reasonably confident that he can buy another relic soon with the way his deck played out that last turn.
So now we will see Vineclaw Wolf attack a player for the first time. So it looks like he's going to choose either Ryan or Jake, and I think he's coming after Ryan. But I could be wrong. Let's see here. There are some tabletop discussions happening.
Well, wait, does anyone
And
have a
also,
satellite?
I
Is Jake's
know-
the satellite?
Jake's is the satellite.
Okay, but yeah,
Now-
unblockable would technically.
Right. And that was the discussion here where, we start talking about satellite and like, well, what the fuck's the point of this card? Like, well,
It's the other attacks, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the
The
way I read Wolf, unblockable on Wolf only affects satellite.
Right.
That's it. It's like can't be satellited.
Yeah. But you want the relics to be more powerful than that.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wait, it says
I
choose
think-
an opponent to dust an active shield, right?
Yep. Choose an opponent to
Okay.
discard 1 active shield. Yep.
Just discard?
Discard.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't understand unblockable on the card then. If it said dust, I would get it, because like you could be like, oh, I'm blocking it and discarding my shield instead of dusting. But yeah. Probably just doesn't need unblockable. But maybe there's a reason I don't understand yet. Let's see what he buys. Because I'm probably just wrong about something there.
Yep. So that's a 6 buy. Looks like he grabs Green Keep and a Fuse Gatekeeper. So this 6 buy because the wolf gives him an extra energy and he had 3 energy in his hand.
People really getting those cycle cards. They love them.
Yeah.
Like there are so many turns where I just would have bought a Chancellor by now. I just like that card so much.
It's a great card, and with all the things that are making things efficient, like what a cool card to make efficient.
Yeah.
So
It's
especially
also
since-
just how I like to start my turn sometimes, just by drawing 2 more cards.
or just making your opponent discard a card and drawing
Yeah.
a card, especially if you can make a few of them efficient throughout the turn. Just
That
you
can be nice.
discard a card. Discard a card.
Bees.
So, so it looks like he did attack Ryan there. He got rid of that barrel horn. The residual 2 energy, I think, was a bigger deal to get rid of than the War Rhino General for the time being. Even though War Rhino General does have can also attack. Just choose an opponent to discard or to dust a card from their hand. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays into things over the course of the next turn. So yeah, Ryan there figuring out exactly what Scry Sword does. Looks like he's dusting an energy with this Scry Sword, looking at the top card of his deck.
It's really interesting to see the differences between this game and the last game that we commentated, because like by this point in the last game, everyone had sort of resigned themselves to never being able to buy a relic, and they were just trying to end the game. But now everyone has a relic, and the turns have so many more actions per turn.
Yeah. A lot more is going to occur now, and we're going to get a lot deeper in the tank here as this match continues on. So
Plates are appearing.
Yeah, for sure. There's also a minute in here. It's about the 50-minute mark, and I don't know if you're going to be able to accommodate this or not.
Oh boy, we're at
but,
33. I have time.
Yeah. So there's audio in this where everybody just starts popping off with I guess what's going on the board. Things start getting real intense with the player mind games, if you will, because I don't know if you guys have experienced board game nights the way I have in the past, but sometimes you start to play those mind games where maybe I'm sitting across the table from Christian, we got Gorby over here on the side, and whoever else, and you want everybody to attack Gorby and kind of lay off of you, and the eyes start kind of coming towards you, and you're trying to get everybody to focus on something else. And so, when that starts happening at board game night, things can get pretty intense. And I know that happens here. Of course, I know that happens here. I was a part of it. But at about the 50-minute mark, and there's about 2 minutes of just, everybody pointing fingers and, finger gunning, trying to figure out who's going to attack who and how everything's about to go. So I
Yeah, I
know
mean,
that
at
happened.
the highest level, there is like a level of like poker face that this game could encourage. If you're like really, if everyone's like a spike and really, if that's the kind of table you're at, because you draw your cards at the end of your turn, so you kind of know if you drew the good cards or the bad cards in your deck, and if you're kind of set up for a good turn, and if you're set up for a good turn, you don't want to be attacked. So like if you have like a thing without any like chaff in your hand, you don't want someone to hit you with a dust cards and all that nonsense.
Oh, yeah, excuse that yawn. Oh my.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
so yeah, so we've got Mock Wings on the board right now, and I believe the other relic is the Chronograph. Chronograph saying that dust a card from your hand every turn and then recall one card from your discard pile every turn. So again, another one of the very powerful relics. Just because it's just always a good effect. It's always going to replenish your hand with the card you dusted, as long as you have a discard pile. You can just grab whatever card out of your discard pile, which is essentially your deck, and then continue your strat from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mockwing says you may retrieve a card from a different name from dust. So whatever card you're dusting from your hand that turn, you just can't grab that card back. So if you're dusting an energy, you can't grab an energy. But if you're dusting an energy, you can grab cards like the fusion fragments or whatever allies are sitting in dust and things like that. So Mockwings being another one of those neat, just kind of get something back if you play into the strategy correctly.
Speaking of dust, we are seeing those fusion fragments that some players dusted really early in the game get snapped up now because people are starting to worry about victory points a bit more as we enter the mid game. And people have a lot of good cards in their decks. They're like, one fusion fragment that I can't really do much with isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you just saw Jake fan out his discard pile there, but I think he's got 4 in there right now.
Yeah, excessive. He seems like he's way ahead on. Well, maybe Gorby is up there on victory points too, because Gorby's also been going for the fragment strats. One of them has to be in the lead right now, but I have no idea which one it is.
Gorby dusted an energy for his turn, and I believe it's just a 4 energy block. So I think he's trying to figure out what he needs to do here. He's grabbing barrel.
That's when you sometimes get the wrong cards, because Gorby has a lot of cards to let him draw, and none of those are it.
Yeah, so he dusted an energy from that 4-buy and got a barrel horn, being that kind of ally action, if you will. If you're making everything efficient, just grab a barrel horn because that's 2 free energy if you can make it efficient, within your progression. So
I'm glad this isn't in HD. Everyone's showing their whole phone notifications on camera. What's up with that?
That's a lot. Yeah. Fine.
No, everyone's doing it. It's like, oh,
speak of it.
Jake's over there like, hit me up on the fucking gram.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man. Justin with the Fuse Gatekeeper dusted another energy from his hand. And Divine Claw Wolf, which is unblockable, gets rid of the War Rhino General. And then Fuse Forge Blacksmith gets rid of the fusion fragments. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like a 7 energy buy there, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting to see a lot of these late rhinos. Usually you see that card get picked up a lot early.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing it pretty late in the game.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, Barrelhorn Rhino is probably not at the end of the day. I mean, it's not terrible anywhere really, and none of these cards are bad. But as a mid game card, like once you have kind of your Fuse Gatekeeper and Fuse Port Sentry strategy kind of building out, and you're cycling through your deck every turn, like Barrelhorn Rhino is a real easy pickup just because it's 2 energy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, because we have so many cards in this pool that give other things efficient, I think it makes it a lot better.
So what just happened there?
Did he get a relic?
He did get a relic.
I guess he had a humongous turn and we just miscounted pretty severely. Also, there's a cat bottom left.
That's minute 38, then that was an 8 buy, I believe.
Yeah, that's minute 38, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, so he did have an 8 buy there. And maybe oh, okay. So
break it down.
So I believe because he drew. Let me do the math in my head real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Math this up.
So and again, we might have to cycle back through it, but I believe he was supposed to have gotten an extra energy out of that turn, or at least he had an extra energy cell based on the card he was drawing. But I don't want to rewind it. But apparently at minute 38, that wasn't a buy. It was an 8 buy. It's in my notes. So
A legit 8 buy. Gotcha.
because Fuse Gatekeeper, I believe, drew a card. He already had the Blacksmith, the Wolf, and the Fusion Fragment in his hand. Um, drew the energy cell, but Noble Cloak made him dust a thing. So I'm not 100% sure where the 8 buy exactly is coming from, but I know it was supposed to have worked out somehow. But either way, he gets the chronograph and then flips Order Helm. So Order Helm is the card, one of the better relics to try to grab as your third relic buy, because you can end the game while also getting some extra card, basically having a 7 buy as you end the game, or at least cause the end game to begin, if you will. So, but we'll see how that plays into it since the other 2 players also have it, and I believe no one wants the Mock Wings for some reason. Because there seem to be just a lot of energy cells in the discard pile right now.
Wait, which one is the Mock Wings?
Mock Wings is the one on the right if you're looking at the dust playmat.
What does it do?
Face up. Mock Wings says you may retrieve 1 card from a different name from dust.
Yeah.
So
you're
dusting a card every turn with the relic effect, you can grab any other card back. Mock Wings, though, really cool when you're dusting 2 cards every turn, because you can dust 1 card with a different relic and then dust an energy from your hand and then grab the card back that you got. Yeah, with Mock Wings. So
yeah, so as a second relic choice, even if there's not a lot right now in the dust pile, yeah, it could be tempting.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat relic to play around with. Oh my god, Ryan's showing off his women. You see that?
Yeah, that was a lot.
A lot of anime women.
Right up my alley, Carl. You know me. Those are 2 things I love.
Anime and women.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. And he's back. We got him back. All right.
I had to reload. What's up
so
with what you doing there, Jake?
We're up on Jake's turn right now. So I think this is the turn that takes Jake like 8 minutes to figure out.
Okay, skipping. No kidding. We'll see.
I might recommend it. I might skip ahead like 2 minutes here because I know
I'm concerned that you might be wrong and it won't be this time. Should I do it?
Go ahead. 2 minutes.
42, 21. I'm just gonna do this because I can see that he's still holding his hand. Yeah, we've already made it a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got action. All right, I'll stop here.
We thought about it. We're not there yet.
Oh, we're not there yet?
All right,
he's moving stuff. Okay, yeah. All right, so Fireflies happens.
Fireflies, he's recalling the War Rhino General to play the War Rhino General to get a energy back, I believe, from the dust. Because War Rhino General, instead of attacking a player, he's charging the shield instead.
For now, we'll see if he changes his mind, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we're good. So, yeah, Fireflies into Blacksmith to draw 2 cards. Because I think what Jake was attempting to do here was, if Fireflies had gotten back the Fusion Fragment and then discarded the Fusion Fragment, he could have drawn a card. And so depending on what the top card of his deck was, I think that played into the strategy. And it was a lot of lines to try to think through. And it just all relied on what was on the top of Jake's deck. So
he goes for the more conservative play of just like doing a good thing that's not amazing, but it's never bad.
Right. He was going for the thing that he could at least, guarantee play to.
Yeah.
Because like if he had just topped an energy there, then it would be a 5 buy instead of a 4 buy. But at the end of the day,
only one person, like it's also like risk management. Like only one person at the table has 2 relics. And if you're Jake, you have a lot of fusion fragments. So like you're not too scared right now. And you make those super high risk plays when it's like the final turn or like it's about to be the final turn and you really need just a really, really good turn right now. Like Jake doesn't need a great turn right now. He just needs an okay turn because he's already like in a pretty decent position. I'm pretty sure he's in second place. And like the game is not super likely to end immediately.
Yep.
I mean, we know because we see the timestamp that it's not ending right now. But, you know, if you're at the table, you're like, yeah, you probably got some time.
3/4 of the way there. So Jake, they're buying Rhino General. And yeah, so that's the play. So he'll draw to his next hand of 5, shuffle up the grave, and the War Rhino will flip over, and that'll be Gorby's turn. So Metal Tree, discard. Oh my God! I just figured it out. Justin had a 8 buy because of the Noble Cloak providing an energy.
Mind blown.
So you can't forget that some of these relics just provide energy, and that was the 8 buy there. So we were thinking 7, 7, 7, 7, and then it just occurred. It was like, oh yeah, that's right. All right, cool. So
well, we've made it to drink number 2 for me on my second LaCroix of the evening.
Excellent. Still sipping water over here. Cheers, friend. Been
Cheers.
fun getting back in the saddle with you.
Yeah, back in the booth.
In the booth. Oh man, you remember that? Oh
yeah.
My God, let's not to pay any mind to this game that everybody's watching right now, but the old Kaijudo days when we would stream. We would stream in one room. 2 players would be playing in one room of your house, and then whoever the other 2 people were would go to a different room in the house, watch the stream, and commentate on that. And then I would take the clip from that commentate and then the video recording and mash them up so that it seemed like we had like a live broadcast of a duel. Like,
yeah, we'd record on like one of our laptops using the terrible laptop mic, no cams at all, nothing like this. And the tech for it was we would be downstairs with the players, tell them when to start, and then run as fast as we could upstairs with the laptop.
Yeah.
That was our hot tech.
Yeah, man, that was how we did it back in the day, man. 2012. Circa. I mean, it was cool. It worked, right?
It kind of worked, yeah. We were both in college. We should have known better. We were adults.
Much better things to spend our time on, and yet, it was bringing content to you fine people.
Mm-hmm.
Some might call it a jumping off point. Others might call it a waste of time, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
If you watched it, you can't talk about it. You can't be mad about it if you watch that content.
So Gorby here with an 8 buy, bought the Order Helm, and is trying to, I think, figure out which allies he wants to get, because Order Helm won't let you actually, won't let you grab fusion fragments. You have to grab allies that cost up to 7 or less.
What was the other choice there? Was it the Mock Wings again? Oh, okay.
No one wants. And they went ahead and flipped the other relic over, and it's the Overclock, which says gain a second ally action each turn.
I would have been tempted for Mock Wings a little bit. Just because like people start dusting at the last bit, like, dust the good player stuff.
Corby only utilizes Order Helm for 5 and just grabs a Poison Hand Chancellor since there aren't any other 2-drops to grab.
Now, none of the cards in this pool none of these are worth victory points, are they? The allies, I mean?
Not a single ally on this board is worth victory points, so it's just fragments and relics.
I didn't know if we hadn't mentioned it because of that or because we forgot. It was
no, you're right. It's something that should have been mentioned much earlier in this set. But yes, the Crystalize set does not have any allies that provide victory points, unlike the last match where there were like 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Order Helm being it's personally it's my favorite. I think as far as getting those art prints. I want an Order Helm art print. It's my favorite relic.
Mm-hmm.
So, looks like Justin here fused Port Sentry into Vineclaw Wolf. Trying to, I think, figure out who to attack here, and I think Jake is the sneaky second place, like you said, just with all those fragments that are in his deck right now, and I think he's starting to get a little top heavy. But I think. If I had to choose who to attack with, I think I would choose Jake. Oh
Yeah,
yes, and here we go. This is
Jake's
minute
thing.
50.
Should
Yeah,
I
so
should I try the audio?
yeah, so this yeah, some of this audio here is Jake and Ryan going back and forth trying to figure out who to attack. So
Let me just tell you, I have the audio on 2 and it is loud. Like that's 2%. If I turned it up anymore, it would be like rip headphone
I
users.
can't hear it at all, so I got nothing.
You called someone a piece of shit.
Are they screaming at each other?
They are.
Nice.
I need these energy cells to dust.
Oh, look at that. This thing's killing me.
Oh, you turned it up. All right.
Oh yeah, no, it's better now.
Ryan, it's your turn.
I can't hear anything. So, but I
I'm
think
gonna
that's
turn it
it.
back down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just got into it with each other, and it was just some quality, just to back and forth, who to attack, who not to attack. Yeah.
This game brings out passionate players. You know, a minute 50.
Yeah. Really. I mean, at this point, everybody's deep in it. So
Yeah, they're invested, man. Everyone has at least one relic. 2 people have 2. Like, you know, things are happening. 3 people have 2. I can't even count. But yeah, Jake's got the most fragile strategy, I guess, because he has a lot of fragments. So like forcing him to dust or something would mean, you know, odds are high he either discards a card with victory points or discards one of the few cards in his deck or in his hand that actually can do something. So it's a strategy that is prone to attacks. Not prone to attacks, vulnerable to attacks. Prone to being attacked.
Cat is on the hunt for something.
Like right now or in the video?
Right now, like literally in front of me. Just came upstairs and went, hey, get away from that door. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? Show cat.
Yeah. No, I'm just running away. I was gonna try to grab her.
Little does she know, she's already on YouTube because she's in the video we're watching.
Yeah, literally. All right, so looks like Ryan here, dusting. Oh yeah, okay. So he forgot to dust with Scry Sword, so he was dusting the Fireflies, which was a card in his hand. So
Feel ya.
and now we're rewinding a little bit on the turn because I think he had to dust a card with Scry Sword, and then he has to choose a card on the top of his deck
Mm-hmm.
to grab something with. So I think we're trying to figure out what that is. And he's dusting the energy and then drawing the card. Okay, got it. We're up to speed. We're up to speed.
I mean, I'm not, but I'm glad they are. I'm following. I'm trying. It's a lot of cards. This game can get very complex.
Right. So Fuse Gatekeeper. Oh, okay. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore. Welcome to board game night, guys. Sometimes
the
just try to
audio.
keep. Yeah.
You play as efficient.
Anything good?
Someone said, "Ay ay ay." He's making as efficient, making the sentry efficient, drawing cards. Next ally should be efficient, right?
I mean,
Yes. Yeah, because so I think this is the time when we realize that Ryan's deck is just incredibly efficient.
Yeah, he just said I don't really have a deck. So yeah, he has another sentry too. Like I was gonna say like sentry into sentry, right? You make the next one efficient. It's great, unless you have 0 cards to draw. That's the only time it's not very good, and that's exactly the situation he's in. Like if he plays sentry right now, it literally does nothing. There's nothing to draw. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and he's just trying to figure out the best way, I think, to be efficient this turn in terms of energy, because he's got an Oak Tusk in his hand. And yeah, so this was the part where we realized, oh yeah, so if you play like Fuse Gatekeeper into Oak Tusk, and then Fuseport Sentry is your ally action for the turn, make your Vine Claw Wolf efficient, that's how you play out all of those cards. So, you know, that's how to get the best bang for your buck. Because at the end of the day, Fuse Gatekeeper is efficient. So make your next thing efficient, just some big beefcake, and then play Fuseport Sentry as your ally action. Because the next thing you play is going to be efficient too, and you can just make whatever your next card is. So that's how to get kind of the most bang for your buck out of non-efficient ally actions, if you will. So, like I said, it's all in proper sequencing, and you know we can't say that enough. I think in terms of just, you know, as we watch these games and continue to, you know, hopefully play them and get more out to you guys, sequencing is everything. And obviously, from a 4-player game, it's hard enough for us as commentators to keep up with, but you know, being able to do it properly on board, when you see turns like Gorby's where, it's just piece to piece to piece to piece, versus, not saying that Ryan's turn is sloppy, but, it's just, trying to figure out what you're going to do as you're doing it. It's just, the strategy tends to fall apart a little bit because you're not, if you don't know where you're starting from, then, how are you going to finish right?
So I think we're at a point now where Ryan's realizing his deck's never going to do a whole lot, so he's just trying to buy the victory points he can buy as a fragment.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, and that's where that comes into is just sequencing the Fuse Gatekeeper and the Fuse Force entries correctly, to get cards like Vineclaw Wolf and Oak Tusk to do what you need them to do. But he doesn't really have any other efficient energy grabbers, so unless he has energies in his deck, then what's he gonna do? So Jake there with the Firefly. I'm not sure if he dusted a card to start, or if that's what he's thinking about right now. Yeah, that's the other rough thing about board game night with new players is forgetting to dust at the start of every one of your turns when you have a relic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to
It
run
does
that
help if you're new to this game. It does help to announce everything you're doing, if not just for you, for the people at the table too. Like if you say "dust for my relic" and everyone else hears that, then next person with a relic's probably gonna remember it more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's like I said, playing the 1v1 games with Gorby. And obviously we were announcing our plays as we were doing it. There wasn't anything we were actually commentating on, but for Gorby and I, I think that's just, even if we weren't recording it for YouTube, just announcing it to each other was just helpful.
Mm-hmm.
We see each other's lines of play and we know what each other's trying to accomplish and go for. So it helps. It always helps.
No casual conversations allowed. This is serious business. Just announce the cards. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Shield or no? How do you want to play this War Rhino Knight, Jake?
Oh, yeah, because now if Jake plays the War Rhino, he can grab the Firefly back and do more fragment strat stuff, depending on the draws. At this point, shields haven't been lasting. Depends on his hand. Oh, yeah. All right, so he's going for it. Because I guess at the end,
you also said it in the in-game commentary. You said like at this point shields haven't been lasting too long anyway, with the wolf.
Yeah. Oh, do you still have the audio up on this?
I pulled it up for like 10 seconds there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was just curious. So I saw Gorby pointing. Usually there's some words with the point. He doesn't just point silently.
So the double dust there, dust and energy and a green keep. Fuse starts his turn off with Sentry. Plays into a green keep merchant. Not necessarily what you want to make efficient.
Isn't it already efficient? Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, I guess the rest of his hand is just not getting it done, so he's looking at discarding these. Come on, show us what they are.
Just thinking. So we're nearing the end game now, so things.
Discards the 2 fragments. Okay. Yeah, I get why that would be a hard decision, because like if you draw a blacksmith, you want to have a fragment, but you also want to draw cards that aren't fragment, so you can do stuff. Better to have 1 energy than 0.
You also want to make things efficient. Oh, well, he had another fragment.
Yes, yeah. But he kept 1 or drew 1. Don't know
2,
which.
3, 4. So a 5 buy.
Nice. So yeah, you could dust the energy and buy another fragment. You could buy a 5-drop. Let's see what he goes for. A lot of interesting decisions to be made. Yeah, so fragments at this point still cost 4, but that may in fact change for the release. So just, if you're watching this after the game is out, just look at your own cards and you tell me what they cost. Could be 4, could be 3.
Yeah. I do like the idea of fragments going to 3, and just making them more of a want to buy strategy versus needing it, because that's always the play, right? Like you get to 8 and it's just you want to buy the relic versus, if they, with 6, a 6 buy can just be 2 fragments and that's 4 victory points. So, and
Yeah,
I
that'd
like
be
the idea
something.
of possibly relics giving you 5 victory points. So
Yeah, I
be a
think like
neat.
if fragments moved down to 3 by itself and like relics didn't change, I think the fragments would be too good for sure. But if
Yeah.
relics are also worth 1 more, then it could make a lot of sense. I don't know. Spencer's thought about the math way more than I have. I've thought about it for like the last 10 seconds, and I'm like, could make sense.
It's all just numbers games, right? Like what is your cost to want to buy threshold? Where do we draw the line at, what feels good to buy versus just do I even want to do it? So what did Gorby buy there? Guess he had a 7 buy there. Did I miss energy somewhere?
So Evan.
1, 2, 3, 4. Huh. Maybe it was a 7. Oh, because his metal tree's giving him 2
Oh
residual.
yeah.
Can't forget the relics. Always forget the relics. Okay, so Gorby calls the end game. So that ends. So Gorby's
Yeah.
turn in.
That's pretty fun,
Now
right? There was 2 people with 2 relics, and the game still ended because of the 3 pile rule.
Yep. So something to and like I said, I think that's something I would personally like to see changed. Just depending on how many people are at the table, you have to buy through X amount of piles to end the game. But
So your suggestion, you would want to see it have to be 4 piles of allies be gone?
if you have 4 people at the table, I want 5 piles gone.
5. Okay, so X plus 1, right?
X plus 1. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, because within a 2-player game, that'd be really quick. Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. Well, in a 2-player game, it's just 3 piles, and that.
Yeah,
that
right now, yeah. But if I changed it to my thing, if it was like X equals X, then it would just be a 2-player game, 2 piles, and that would be that'd be a disaster.
Yeah, that would be quick. But I mean, either way, like the 2 matches that Gorby and I played, I went for fusion fragment strats both times, but like both games pretty much ended, with the option of us being able to get to our 3rd relic every time. Like there were multiple
Yeah.
turns where I think Gorby or I either avoided the 3rd relic or just didn't buy it because we weren't in a position to be able to win if our opponent took his last turn. So, it's just.
And I'll defer to you on that because I still haven't been a part of that many games that ended because of the piles. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the games I'm in. People, i.e., me, are like really aggressively buying relics. I just buy a lot of relics. I don't know.
And I think that's from a casual strat. Shout outs to Justin there getting to his 8 buy.
Yeah. So if the game didn't end on Gorby's thing, it would have ended one turn later.
Yeah. So Oak Tusk, Fuse Gate, Wolf, other neat things. Got rid of another shield, and was able to get his 8 buy.
We're at a point now where I legitimately have no idea who's ahead, but I'm pretty sure it's either Gorby or Justin.
Well, and I put Jake in this race too. I can't actually remember who wins, but
yeah, Jake. If Jake had 2 relics, I think he would definitely be in the lead. He only has 1, right?
Well,
am I crazy?
He has 1 currently. Yeah, I can't remember if he gets there.
Yeah, if he gets another one, then yeah, he's totally still in it. And he does. Jake will take the final turn of the game because Gorby activated the end game. So then Justin, Ryan, and Jake all get 1 more turn to see what they can do.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned last turn, I think Ryan's deck is a whole lot of drawing into nothing. So he's probably going to wind up buying like a fragment or something. Yeah. If he even can.
Right. And here's where we talk about just the actual strategy of the play here. And just trying to get his energy right. So here we actually make the appropriate play of Fuse Gatekeeper into an efficient Oliphant. Gets back Barrelhorn Rhino versus Greenkeep because at this point he doesn't need to draw any cards because Fuseport is gonna literally grab him his last 2 cards, and then he can make his last ally efficient.
It's so sad. He's got another Fuseport Sentry. This deck would be so good if it had like 5 or 6 more cards.
Yeah,
like the nuts.
Yeah, maybe some Poison Hand Chancellors in there too, and just at this point with his hand as big as it is, just load it up with energy. I think that was a conversation maybe his second to last turn ago. Of just with his like, I think he had like a 5 or 6 buy. Like, why don't you just buy 6 energy?
You could do
Just
that,
fill.
yeah.
Yeah, just have something to draw. So
Then if you start with all of them, you're really set.
yeah.
I mean, if
So,
people were just playing shields, that wolf would be really good.
yeah. So
There's you.
yeah. Yeah, and here's where we have that conversation of Fuse Gate into Oliphant. Everything's still efficient. Fuse Ports is one ally action into Barrelhorn Rhino, which is efficient now because of that. And he has a 6 buy, and he'll get a fragment, and that'll be. I mean, yeah, he just buys energy just for the sake of it. So
Yeah,
welcome to
fun.
the end. So and that's that. And so Jake will take his last turn.
So I will say, in like some edge cases, filling your deck up with energy at the very last turn actually could matter. Like if your opponent's last turn is involving discarding, trying to make you discard victory points, and your deck is full of useless energy, that you're giving yourself basically garbage to discard if you need to. Which isn't, it's better, it's literally better than nothing, but like marginally.
Right, and I think you're right, and especially too with cards like Noble Cloak, which like increase a minimum hand size, but that's like a one-off relic.
Yeah.
You're always going to have at least 3 cards in your hand. So as long as you don't have
If all 3 are victory points worth,
all 3
then you're
cards
very
are worth
sad.
victory points, then yeah, you should be straight. But
But that's only relevant like if you literally don't have to play again. Like right now, Ryan doesn't have to take more turns, so it's okay if his deck gets worse as long as it's not vulnerable.
Right. Very fringe cases, but still something to be aware of.
That's the fun. I personally, I find fun in like those little hidden interactions that won't matter 90% of the time.
Yeah.
They're
What do you
cute.
call them? Like micro choices. Throughout a game.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
macro
little-
plan would be like, what's your deck trying to do? How are you going to get there? And like micro choices are like, how do you get there? And like the very, like, what do you want to do today? You could have a plan, but then like, first you got to put your socks on. This is like the putting your socks on of your game.
Because you don't put your socks on. Now you got
You don't have your shoes are uncomfortable. It ruins the whole plan.
Yeah. But simple, minute thing that nobody would really pay any mind to. So neat observations. So
that's a lot of fireflies, dude.
So this was really neat because this showed me something that I think I would like to try to play with. So Jake gets an 8 by here. So with 2 fireflies in his discard pile, you can use Firefly to recall a Firefly, Firefly to recall a Firefly, Firefly to recall a fusion fragment. He had the fuse to discard the fragment that he just got with the Firefly, and then played War Rhino General and Green Keep, or played War Rhino General to grab a Green Keep back from the dust, and played the Green Keep as his energy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the War Rhino General, 8 with the Green Keep, and has an 8 buy on his last turn. So really neat little interaction there with Firefly if you can kind of fill your graveyard or discard pile up with them rather.
Yeah, it's funny because Firefly seems pretty weak early on, but in that case it was pretty nuts in the late game. So now we're counting up victory points, right?
Right. So hold on, no, someone just made a loud noise. So you may want to pause this right here because I think we're counting. So it looks like Ryan has a total of 10. Gorby just literally, well, I don't know. I don't know that Gorby laid out his fragments.
Yeah, I don't know if he has it. He should have some, right? He's shuffling still for some reason.
I thought he would. But Justin there has 12 with his.
Oh, I think Gorby's playing out like a what if scenario if he had one more turn, maybe.
Oh yeah, he wants to see his last turn.
I mean, he already had his last turn though, because he was the one who bought the 3rd ally, right?
Right.
So he's just messing around. He's just seeing what if he had another turn.
Yeah.
Which is really confusing for commentators.
Yeah, it is. I did ask them to just kind of lay out everything.
We're getting there. Yeah, he's definitely got a fair amount of wow, a lot of fragments. Jeez.
Yeah, so, all right, so you can pause it here.
Okay.
So, as soon as the little bubble goes away, but there, either way. So yes, so Justin has 3 relics and 3 fusion fragments. That's 18 total. Jake also has 2 relics and 5 fusion fragments, which also gives him a total of 18. Gorby with 2 relics, 4 fragments, so that would be 16. And then Ryan with 3 fragments, 1 relic, which is 10. So that would put Ryan in last place, Gorby in third. But then you have Jake and Justin, which tied on victory points. And what I liked about this match, and it's coming back to me now, this showcases, the win condition where if two players in the game and they both have the same amount of victory points and they're tied for the win, the winner is the person with the most relics. And Justin has 3 relics. So Justin wins.
By a hair, the thinnest of margins imaginable.
Yeah. So and then the strategy continues. If both players also have 3 relics and they're still tied, it goes to ally action or allies in the deck. You count the total number of allies that you've recruited.
Yeah.
And then we haven't had so according to Spencer, he hasn't had a case yet that's been won that hasn't been able to be decided on that ally phase. Only a handful of games out of the dozens and dozens that he's played have even come down to that. So
yeah, that makes sense. And I think, honestly, if you reach that point, call it a tie, man. You had a great game. That sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, I'm for it. Yeah, run it back. Run it back.
Yeah, that's a really cool game. As you can see, the victory point totals were way higher than they were in the last one we commentated.
Yes. Because I think the winner of the last game was only 9.
Yeah, and the 4th place in this game had 10.
Right. And even, it was circle back to our relic discussion. We talked about, just this is about that threshold of, like I said, that 16, 17, 18 mark is always the margin for winning, if you will. How many relics do I need to win a game? And or how many victory points do I need to win a game? And that threshold for me, just from like I said, about a little over 10 games that I've been a part of have been in that 16, 17, 18 range. I haven't seen many games go over 20, if any. So
yeah, it's interesting because when you think about it, 3 relics, at least in the current iteration of the game, is only 12 victory points. So what you're saying is like, yeah, you can get rid of fragments early, but you'll probably need to pick up more victory points than just 3 relics along the way if you want to not get like second or third.
Exactly.
And that's, sometimes easier to do when there's allies that have victory points in the pool, but then, that affects the totals of your opponents too. Sometimes I guess that might not be true if you just have the nuts and you keep drawing all the best cards in your deck and you just get way ahead of everybody and you can end the game quick. But yeah, usually the winning decks have, more than 12 victory points.
Yep, typically. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for sticking around if you're still around. So can't say it enough. So we didn't mention it at the start of the video, and that's on me. But for those of you who stuck around, the Kickstarter is literally funded. You guys did it. Everybody who orders a copy today and even post Kickstarter orders will get a copy shipped to them. However, if you guys back it within the next couple of hours, so if you're watching this when I upload it, literally, it's Sunday night for us. If you guys back this within the next couple hours and get this thing up to 2,500 or 25,000, I don't know, 25K.
Yeah, that's the one.
Whatever that number is, we can get holographic relics. So go do it. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, go grab a copy. You are guaranteed to get a copy shipped to your home before Christmas time. So good stuff. Any last thoughts?
Great stuff.
Stevie? Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It's been great to get back in the booth and commentate a more fleshed out game of Dust to Dust. Hope y'all liked it. Hope y'all liked the game.
Yeah. Guys, thanks so much. We appreciate the support. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And hopefully we'll be able to bring some more of this to you here in the near future. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next time.
Later.